I grew up in a family where historically it was based on the idea of hoarding and collecting as a way to save and keep things together, because it meant you got ahead, you'd have more stuff. But that was back when things were worth keeping, when things were crafted with quality and integrity and they actually did last. Now, so much of it is just plastic, disposably created, that hoarding it is defeats the purpose, and it just becomes a a maintenance hazard, a fire hazard, a cleaning hazard to hoard stuff. But that mindset still remains with people, and they're hoarding junk. They have piles of junk and piles of rubbish that doesn't serve anyone except take up space, and it looks as though you've got a lot of stuff, and people think stuff is at least a better result than having nothing at all, because nothing is seen as failure. To come away with nothing means you haven't achieved anything, you haven't kicked any goals, you haven't won anything, you've come home with an empty bag. It's like you've been hunting and you've come back empty-handed. Empty-handed is another term that means unsuccessful. When in reality, empty-handed, or in another language, empty-handed means karate, doesn't it? Empty hand. It's seen as a strength to fight without a weapon. So this Western idea, or commercial corporate idea, of having stuff and collecting and owning, and that the energy of items stops with you, is something that is not helpful. And I see it often. I see working on the weekend at a school working bee, where we're all, people were painting doors and mowing lawns and chopping down old bushes and things, and a lot of people, it's conspicuous by their absence, and you can go, oh, they're never at the school working bee, neither are they, nor are they. And it's not because they're working or they're injured or something, it's because they only contribute to any activity when there's some tangible quality they can take personally home away with themselves. Like, they don't sort of give of their time without any sort of result for themselves. And I see it with the idea of going to the beach and surfing. Okay, so when you surf in the wave, and then you bring your surfboard in and you sit on the beach, and that experience is over, and it's just between you, the surfboard, and the ocean. But other people don't have it in that context, and they say, no, I want to have a boat. And just let me finish. And before you say this is a different context, it's not. Having boats is where you own a piece of equipment, and then you go out into the ocean, but you still have that ownership and that solid sort of thing that's yours. So when you come back after the sailing event, you've been sailing for 5 hours, you've had an experience or an event, but then you come back and you still have that ownership of that item. And I know you have that with the surfboard as well, but having a boat, it's like having a caravan. People don't like going away for a weekend and staying in a cabin and then they come home. They like to own a caravan. It's about, the hoarding idea is about having a long-term ownership of an item that is somehow connected to a temporary experience, and getting the two confused, but always favouring the item over the experience. When it comes down to, if there's a choice, you go, do we go away for 3 days, or do we actually buy the caravan? They go, oh, we'll buy the caravan, because then we can go next time. And it's a way of delaying and putting off into the never actually doing the expedition. So you go, oh, well, we've got to get the boat. I've got to get the boat before we can go sailing. So getting the boat becomes an end in and of itself, and a delay, and a whole process that's outside of the whole experience of actually sailing. And the idea of sailing, which is essentially, isn't it, the freedom and the simplicity of being on the waves and the wind blowing the the vessel through the water, and that freedom and that openness and not being held back gets totally lost in the minute details of buying the boat, storing the boat, mooring the boat, taking the boat to the slipway, and the whole process of maintaining the object. And it's not just boats, it's with so many activities get lost in the detail and the maintenance of the objects that go along with the activity, that the activity itself becomes almost unnecessary. And you find people literally get caught up in the merchandising and the wearing the soccer outfit of their favourite team and never actually playing soccer themselves. So that instead of becoming a soccer player and loving the sport, they're actually just a professionally merchandised supporter or a fan. So they're at every game following the team around, and they've got nothing to do with the fitness and the skill and the dexterity and the commitment and discipline and the training of the sport. It's actually just all about getting the buses and trains to the next stadium and buying the junk food and sitting in the crowd and wearing all the right coloured bits of clothing and yelling the songs. Like, it's a totally different experience. And that's what I'm sharing with mindfulness is, are you mindfully in the present? Are you mindfully aware that this hoarding, this having to have stuff actually creates such a distance and a space between what you genuinely are wanting to experience? I see it with running. Something as simple as running, I've found even that had the shoes and the orthotics and the socks and the shirts. And then I've noticed so many people having these little apps counting and measuring and timing their running experience to the point that it becomes they don't even see where they're running and they trip over because they're so focused on beating 7:26 or whatever sort of number they've created in their head they have to beat. They don't genuinely experience the space. So my mindful alternative was to run barefoot on the beach. It's like a version of naked running with just a shirt, a shorts, and that's it. 2 items of clothing on, no technology, no shoes, no socks, no anything, and just run there, just to have that freedom and simplicity. And that's what I'm offering with mindfulness, to approach life, to have that skill to be able to strip back where we are and what so often distracts us into unhappiness or sadness or dissatisfaction or depression or frustration or anger, is this idea that we have to have these items or these bits that go along with the merchandise to make the event full, when in fact the event itself is what we're here for. And having that mindful awareness to becoming back to the moment, to becoming back to what we're actually originally authentically here for. It's such a transformational space to be in, to keep stripping it back to just the essential ingredients and not being distracted by all the hyperbole and all the extras and all the sparkling lights around the game, because life is not about all the sparkly marketing distractions. It's actually about those core elements, and the core elements literally come down to the sense of belonging, the sense of connection, the sense of making it meaningful to yourself, and the sense of participation and genuinely getting into your body. My name's Bren Murphy. You can read more on my blog, brenmurphy.net. Thank you.